Lights out. And now the movies, folks.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Omega Files. I'm your host, Dr. Freedom. Tonight, we're going to be taking a look back to 1963 to the movie Jason and the Argonauts. Joining me this weekend are William. Say hello.
Hey now.
Harry. You got to unmute yourself, Harry.
Welcome one and all to the show.
Okay, Matt Rose.
Hello.
And Texas Tim, when he gets back, he's with a customer at the moment. Okay, this movie I've been watching probably for the greater part of over 30 years. And it's just one that you can keep going back to over and over and over again. You know, it's an old tale. It's a tale that literally has stood the test of time, coming back to us all the way from the Greek myths and numerous retellings across God knows how many, various books, authors, and all that, going all the way back to the beginning. Okay, let's get some opening thoughts. Let's start with Harry.
This is a classic. This is one of the best stop-action movies you will ever see out there. It is, you get a chance to rent it, you get a chance to buy it, do it. It's worth the investment.
Okay, Matt Rose.
Agreed with Harry, and I have truly enjoyed the stop motionness of it. It's such great, and the ending scene with those skeletons. I just love that battle. If we're going to be discussing it for a while, let's just pass it over here. But I loved it, and one of my favourite casting from this is Patrick Troughton. No, he's not in as one of the main like them lot. Seeing Patrick Troughton in this film before he was the Doctor just made me smile so much. It's great. It's such a great film. If you've not seen it, it's definitely one to go pick up and watch at any time. Like Freedom or like Freedom's been watching it for so long, and yes, it is one I'd say you should come back over and over again to watch, and it's very enjoyable.
Okay, Texas Tim.
Yeah, this is a certified classic film, isn't it? I mean, I remember watching this on television a lot when I was growing up in the 70s. But one thing I noticed when I was watching it back a couple of weeks ago, that it has Honor Blackman in it, and I was really surprised because I had forgotten that she was in it. I didn't know her when I was a kid, but I recognized her voice right away when she was, kind of hidden in the dark. She had just been doing the Avengers on ITV at that time in the early 60s. And the next year you'd see her as Pussy Galore in Goldfinger with James Bond. So yeah, she's really cool. This is a great film though. I mean, it's more about that. It's more about this stuff, the effects and stuff. Really good stuff there, really classic.
Okay, so basically it all starts out with, you got this guy, the king, Polias, who's found out, okay, I'm going to get a kingdom. And then he finds out, wait a minute, I'm going to lose the kingdom. Wait a minute, I'll do something really dumb. I'll go kill off all the children of this, the first king or whatever, or this guy, so that way they can't be king. And it's like, wait a minute. He tries to pull the classic, well, Zeus made me do it. And it doesn't work out. But, oh man, I just love watching this flick. I can watch this one over and over and over again. Okay, hang on a second. Looks like joining us right now because he's been having some technical difficulties. Okay, Philip, give us your opening thoughts on Jason and the Argonauts.
Let me get mine while he's fixing his thing.
Oh no, he has no audio. Okay, well.
Let me give my opening statement.
All right, go ahead, William.
Like Tim said, this movie is a classic. It's one of the top 100 movies of all time that must be seen. this movie and the Seventh Voyage of Sinbad brought me into the Ray Harryhausen universe. So every movie that he ever done, I always watched it. And when I got older, I had to get them on DVD. One of the last things I was able to do before Mr. Harryhausen passed away was to buy one of his autobiography books. And luckily for me, I met him downtown and got his autograph. So it was an honor to meet him. And I wish I would have been one of those that actually watched it when it came on the theater so long ago.
Yep. Oh man, this movie, like I said, one of the things, Elisha brought up that keeps bringing me back to it was the effects, and it's just mind blowing when you find out what they had to go through to get a lot of these creatures and all this to come to life. Someone told me earlier this week it took like 4 months just to film the scene with the skeleton fight, which is towards the end of the movie with the children of the Hydra's teeth, and we got hydras, we got the harpies, we got and this was the guy to go to, Ray Harryhausen. If you wanted creatures or you wanted really good effects in your movie, this guy was the master at that time. He's inspired many people who followed in his footsteps. Okay, Philip, now that I'm hearing some sound, go ahead and try to give us your opening thoughts.
Yeah, hello. Sorry for being a little late. My opinion thoughts. I used to watch this when I was a kid. This is the last time I actually watched it properly as a child, and I used to marvel at as you just mentioned, the skeletons sword fight with all the people. Oh, and this guy here. This guy scared the living bejesus out of me.
Talos,
yes, because he sat on top of that temple, didn't he? And when he stepped down on his first foot, that freaked me out. Because I remember that I was like, oh my God, he's going to step on me and trample me. So yes, now I've seen the pictures of it. This movie has come back in full flow in my head. And yes, I did like the action sequences from every kind of monster that was in it. Really, it's a good movie. It's quite fun, and as Freedom says, it must have took an awful long time to get it all done in sequence like that. The Mermaid Man, I remember him as well. So yeah, it's a fab movie, and I would recommend it to anybody really.
Yeah, I think he was supposed to represent Neptune or Poseidon, depending.
No, that's Neptune's son Triton.
Is that who that is? Okay.
Yeah.
He is a kind of hairy fella though. I kind of felt sorry for them guys having to go under his armpit though. Yeah, definitely love this flick. Plus, we had a heck of a cast in this movie. As people brought up, we have Patrick Troughton in here, and this is 3 years before he would get that phone call to go become the second Doctor in Doctor Who. And the scary part is, I didn't even know that was him. Not until somebody told me like a year or 2 years ago, and I'm like, no, that's not Patrick Troughton. They go, yeah, it is.
Yeah, it took me a while to figure that out too. That it was the doctor there.
Okay, let's go around and ask. What was your favorite parts of this movie? Let's start with William.
Oh, from the whole movie, there was some talking part, but this is one of those movies that from beginning to end flow great. There's no part that I hate. This movie was great. Of course, Ray Harryhausen's special effects just made it more better watching every little special effects that he was done, whether it was the Hydra, Talos, the skeleton fight. They all flow with the movie. There's nothing wrong with this movie whatsoever.
Okay. Harry?
I agree with William. There's not a bad scene in this movie. I mean, it is just one of those movies that from start to finish, it is just top notch. You never get tired watching it. It is so well done.
Okay. Matt Rose.
Well, as the panel have already started to cover, it's great from beginning to start, from beginning to end. If you have not watched the Argonauts, this is definitely for you. It's got besides the main cast, it's got a great guest cast as well as Patrick Troughton and Honor Blackman. It's just a great movie that cannot be faulted, especially the special effects and the location scenes. They looked really sweltering hot when they were on that beach scene. Oh, it must have been really warm when you were filming this thing. All in all, it's a great piece of film, and the effects are I would say they're better than some of the effects we have today, and I truly love it.
Yep, starring Todd Armstrong, Nancy Kovac, Honor Blackman, Gary Raymond, just to name a few names. Music by Bernard Herrmann, and I think that's another big selling point on this movie is the soundtrack. Really well done stuff. Okay, let's pass it on to Texas Tim. What were your favorite parts of this movie?
Again, it's really hard to pick one. I mean, because it's such a well-made film. I mean, you got a whole series of set pieces with different creatures and different monsters. All of it's done really well. And the acting's very good. Like you said, the music is very good. I guess if I was going to be forced to pick one, it would probably be the skeletons fighting at the end, because that's just so iconic. You've never seen that before in your life. So usually, if you're trying to remember what movie it was that had that in it, you're going to Google skeletons fighting with swords and shit. So, I mean, it was just, it's a great film all the way through. It's a great film, for a family to see back in the day. You would take, I guess, if you're a mom or dad, this would be a good one to take the kids to.
Okay. All right. Let's open up the floor. Now, one of the scenes that also stuck out to me was the fact that, and I still get a laugh out of this, everybody remember good old little, I believe his name was Hylas, the guy who beats out Hercules with the discus?
Yeah.
Yes, I remember that. Yeah.
Then they get to the island of the gods, and what does he do? Has an utter attack of the dumbass. He runs back for that javelin, hoping to impress Hercules, actually it was a brooch, I believe it was.
A pin brooch.
And he runs back for it, and bam, there comes Talis down on top of him. If I remember right, Talis's Greek name was Achilles.
Mm-hmm.
And that's who he was supposed to represent, with the weakness in the heel.
Yes. Yeah.
And oh man,
that was one of my favorite scenes when they open up Talis's heel and all the sand came out and he was toppling.
That was his blood, because in the mythology, Hephaestus created those statues, and then to bring them to life, he used what we call blood. For us, is blood. They call it. They had a funny name for it. They call it like Ichor or something like that. ICHOR. That was their
ICHOR. Oh, Ichor. That's another. Yeah, that's another word for blood. Yes, you're right there.
So that looked like lava flow, but that was his blood. So he bled to death. That's why he collapsed.
Yeah, Hephaestus, also known to the Romans as Vulcan. Yeah, he was the forge of the gods, and he created apparently all these statues on this island, and he based that one on the story of Achilles, because Achilles' tale was he was this guy, and then in order to make him invulnerable, he was dipped into the river Styx, and when the gods held him down into the river, they held him by his ankles.
That makes sense.
Able to attack, and I love that little bit, because when they open that part up and all that, I go, wow, his blood's iron brew, man. These orange Mountain Dew like stuff come flying. But then we also have, there's so many great scenes in this movie. This is, it's like, I agree with y'all. I cannot pick a favorite part out of this whole movie. Between the skeletons, Triton, between, the Hydra, man,
the harpies.
But man, I'm going to open up the floor. Is there any other parts we're missing that any of you want to bring up?
Well, the part with the harpies with Patrick Troughton, that actually was the Colosseum in Italy. They had permission to climb on top of it to do the netting scene. Now, you try to do that today, they're not going to give you permission to climb those Colosseums.
Wow.
Oh, so that was a real.
That was the real.
Sorry, not a prop. It wasn't a prop. It was a real thing.
They had permission.
Wow.
They had like 2 days to do that scene, and they had permission. Not trying to do that today, you're not going to get permission.
Fair enough. And Brian, as you said, that was Patrick Troughton's early role before he became the Doctor, or after he became the Doctor.
Before.
Wow.
This was 1963.
Oh wow. Okay. Cool.
Just when Hartnell was starting.
Oh, and you didn't recognize him. I recognized him off the bat, man, when I saw that.
I like how the goddess was, Hera was helping them out the whole time. I can't remember what was her motivation for doing that.
Because King Pelias, he murdered Jason's sister in her temple, and that's he
that's right.
disrespected her.
Hold on.
So Zeus told Hera, "You can help Jason 5 times." That's how many times she prayed for her before she was murdered.
Yes.
Oh wow. Okay.
I liked the bit where they arrive when Jason's like in the Mount Zeus, is it? When he arrives and he's like the size of a chess piece. And then
When he went to Mount Olympus.
Yeah,
Mount Olympus, that's it, Mount Olympus. When he's like the size of a chess piece, and then the gods are saying how they liked that he didn't demand much of them. That's why they respected him, because he didn't ask much. He was more of a giver than a taker than what they're used to.
Yeah.
But what's also neat about this tale is it also is brought up in a roundabout way. The story's retold in a Doctor Who episode. Harry, you want to know what it was?
Oh, I think I know what you're talking about.
Was it the Mythmakers?
No, it was.
I'll give you a hint. Why did you call Jackson Jason?
Underworld.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Underworld, yes.
Oh,
yeah.
I was going to say the other one. I was going to say the one with Skonos in it.
Yeah, the Doctor brings it up at the end of the thing about the Golden Fleece at the end of the world and all that, and how Jackson's quest in that story reminds him of the quest of Jason and the Argonauts.
Also brought up in Horns of the Nymon as well.
Yep.
That's what I was referring to, Haunted Nymon. That's what I would get mixed up with. Okay.
All right, I'm going to leave the floor open. Was there any other scenes we haven't brought up that anyone wants to talk about?
The Hydra.
Oh, yeah, the Hydra and then the children of the Hydra's teeth.
Mm.
Yeah.
That scene took a while because he had to practice. The actor had to practice in the studio because there was no cave or nothing that was put in with the Harryhausen effect. So he had to practice each move of the Hydra until the death of the Hydra by himself for like over a week.
William, in regards to the skeleton fight, was obviously the skeletons weren't there when they're fighting them. So do they fight against markers so they knew what they were doing? I mean, what I'm saying is...
Oh, the scene with the skeleton?
Yeah.
They practiced for quite a few months with actors wearing numbers representing the skeletons.
Ah.
The book right here has the photos of the rehearsal with the stuntmen. So they had to practice that over and over again. And then when the Harryhausen put the spets, he took out the scenes with the stuntmen.
Okay. Oh, so he superimposed it sort of thing over the movements of the stuntmen. Yeah. Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. And then, of course, this is one of those movies where you got a bunch of brave men going out in tights. Well, not in tights, in diapers, basically.
Skirts.
At least that's what the one guy reminded me, Argus. He's lying out there. It looks like he's wearing a freaking diaper. I always wondered, it's like, there's no facilities on the Argonaut, which means they had to been going over the side, which means they left a pissy and shitty trail all the way to the end of the world. But I always wondered about, well, if they had such a fun time with the clashing rocks on the way there, just imagine, they got to go back through that again. Way back.
Well, the clashing rocks
also came up in the Odyssey that Odysseus had to have his men cover their ears to avoid the call of the sirens because the sirens would lure them in and then the rocks would crush the ships.
Yep.
Well, you got to remember that in the actual mythology books, Medea was the one that was helping Jason in a lot of the scenes that we see in the movie. Like, for instance, she was the one that told them where the weakness of the tailors were. She caused a spell to have the skeleton fight each other instead of Jason and his men. Now, in the book is different than the movie, but I'm not saying the movie sucked at all. The movie was...
They've always played hard and loose with the actual mythology of these stories.
Yeah, this is one of the movies that got me into reading mythology. This one and the Sinbads, that I had to read about all this mythology stuff.
Because I remember years later when they did Clash of the Titans, I was actually a little disappointed that they changed the story around so much. It made much more sense in the books I had read as a kid. But
yeah.
I mean, You got to. That's just a minor niggle when you have a movie made up of awesome special effects like that, though. So.
Yes.
Well, yeah, 1963. Yeah, these guys basically are standing there, on a set, a stage, and all that, fighting nothing in the air, and then they have to put everything in afterward. You really got to give them kudos for all the work that went into it, especially the guys, stop motion effects with Ray Harryhausen. And like I said, the soundtrack brought up before was done by Bernard Herrmann, and this was his fourth collaboration with Ray Harryhausen. He did Seventh Voyage of Sinbad, Three Worlds of Gulliver, Mysterious Island as well.
Mm-hmm.
And he also wrote the music for Journey to the Center of the Earth. And
several Hitchcocks as well, right?
I believe so, yeah. And like I said, this is just one of those movies that I can watch over and over and over again, still enjoy it beginning to end. Okay.
And it's one of the movies that actually made money, unlike the CGI one that came out a few years ago.
Oh, don't even remind me of that piece of garbage. Oh, man. I know. I tried watching the new, Jason and the Argonauts that had popped up not too long ago. And I think there was one that was done for like direct to video or something like that. And it was just horrible. Same thing with Clash of the Titans. Same thing with the new Mysterious Island they did a few years ago with Kyle MacLachlan. Total garbage. I'm not kidding.
Some classics just shouldn't be remade, and I don't think that just because these effects from 1963 might look a little primitive to today's kids' eyes or whatever, it doesn't take anything away from it. I bet you kids enjoy this movie just as much. The effects are very good. I mean, whether it was 1963 or 2003. I mean, it's good.
I agree with Tim.
Awesome movie.
Yeah, I agree with Tim there because it kind of negates all the effort they made to make that film with the technology they had back then, just to make like sequels to flash it up a bit. It doesn't seem very fair to do that. So yeah, I agree with Tim there.
Mm-hmm. Matter of fact, at the 1992 Academy Awards, Tom Hanks deemed Jason and the Argonauts to be "quote unquote" the greatest movie of all time, and this was also regarded as being Ray Harryhausen's best film out of all of them. But what was really nifty is if you look at the skeleton shields, they're adorned with designs of some of his other creations. One is an octopus. One is the head of the creature from 20 Million Miles to Earth.
The Ymir.
Yeah, I think it's called the Ymir. Yeah, the Ymir, something like that. And it's amazing to me. Matter of fact, this was released on Blu-ray disc in 2010. And among the special features on it, they put two new audio commentaries, one by Peter Jackson and Randall William Cook, and the other by Ray Harryhausen in conversation with his biographer, Tony Dalton. So if you can get your hands on that, I highly recommend get it. Get a hold of it.
In the book.
All right. The damn good movie, damn good effects. Yeah, if Ray Harryhausen, basically he was a god in this industry back then. And if you haven't seen a Harryhausen movie, go watch this one, go watch all of them. It's just magic to see him bring all these things to life, especially back in that time period when you're lucky if your computer could add 2 + 2 without taking up an entire room. So, okay.
Where was the entire film? Where was it recorded? What
film? You mean film?
Yeah. Where was it?
Italy,
but not like Crete or anything like that.
Give me a second. I check the book.
I'd have to look that one up again to be sure.
I'm guessing some of it was done at their big studios in the UK, but probably some of those outdoor scenes were probably done in actual locations.
Yeah. I was just interested to know which location they used for it, though. Okay, it's fair enough.
But not bad for a movie that was based off, a telling of the story that was done like in the 3rd century. So, oh man.
So was this the first big hit that Harryhausen had, or were his prior movies successful as well?
Okay.
I think I can answer that. This is one of the only few movies that was released by itself. Some of his previous movies was released as a double bill with another movie. So this one was released by itself, and it made 3 times the money that was put into it.
Wow, that's incredible.
Okay. Had a budget of $1 million. Box office opening was $2,100,000, which doesn't sound like a lot today, but when you bring that up to equivalent dollars, man, it's like, oh. See,
Yeah, it was over 50 years ago, so that's definitely, that's good money for that time, I'm sure.
Okay. All right, let's take a look at some of his other works here really quick, really quick. As I was bringing up his filmography. Okay, before all this, oh heck, he had done, let's see, just to give you a few off the top of my head. Starting with 53, around that time, he did Beast from 20,000 Fathoms, that came from beneath the sea. Earth versus the Flying Saucers in 56, 20 Million Miles to Earth in 57, The Seventh Voyage of Sinbad in 58, Three Worlds of Gulliver in 60, Mysterious Island in 61, and then finally, Become the Jason and the Argonauts in 63. And there's another one I like to watch, First Men in the Moon, 64, 1 Million Years BC, Valley of the Gwangi. That one's not really well known, but of course, later on, we're going to be going into the couple he did in the 70s, which is The Golden Voyage of Sinbad, Sinbad of the Eye of the Tiger, and then Clash of the Titans.
I remember Valley of the Gwangi. I used to like that film as well. That's another one I enjoyed.
I used to watch that one all the time too, Valley of the Gwangi. That's where they had that hidden valley with this T-Rex living in it somewhere down, I think it was Mexico.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that was almost a little bit of a copy of, say, of Mighty Joe Young, because like he was from his world and he was born to, they try to use him in a circus like that.
Yeah.
And also like a little bit like King Kong like that he is a dinosaur escape and went crazy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I remember little tiny hooves, the miniature tiny hooves that in Valley of the Gwangi. That was pretty cool.
Well, what about that earlier Sinbad from the 50s? Was it good?
The Seventh Voyage of Sinbad. That's the one with the Cyclops, the dragon. He fights one skeleton in that movie also. The two-headed bird or rock that attacked the people.
That one I have not seen in a long time, but I'm thinking about going into it at a later date, because it was also a good movie from what I do remember of it. But like I said, I got to go back and get a refresher on it. I do remember the two-headed bird and then them fighting that one. That sticks out in my head really vividly. But okay, let's go ahead. We're going to rate this sucker. Why am I calling it a sucker? This is an awesome film, man.
It is a great movie. It is great.
Okay, guys, out of 10, do I really have to ask? Let's start with William. How do you rate this movie?
A 10 out of 10.
Harry, do I have to ask?
If I could rate it higher than 10, I would. Simple as that.
All right, Philip.
You're getting a 10 from me as well.
Texas Tim.
You don't have to ask, yeah.
All right, of course, Matt Rose.
You don't even have to say a word. It's 10 out of 10.
Well, all I can say, guys, is same here. 10 out of 10. I highly recommend, if you have not in your lifetime seen Jason and the Argonauts, the
1963 version.
Run, don't walk.
Original is best.
That I highly recommend, if you can find that Blu-ray, or if you can find it even on a Netflix service or some like streaming service, go watch this movie. You will not regret it. It's an action adventure story. It's friendly for all ages, and it stands the test of time going on 52 years later.
Exactly.
Okay, so any parting thoughts before I get our goodbyes?
Yes, if you got the time and the money, go to a bookstore and get the Ray Harryhausen Life, the animated life. It shows you how he did all the effects and all the movies that he did.
Yeah, I watched a couple of his little short documentaries this week, and like I said, it's just amazing. I can't even imagine the patience it must have taken. I'd have been pulling my hair out just, after the first couple of minutes, let alone a few months on one scene. I'd be like, or you come in the next day, okay, wait a minute, what are we supposed to move now? Oh my God. No. Stop motion, it's like, especially them guys who are out there now on YouTube now doing like action figure adventures and stuff like that. I wouldn't even have that much patience to even sit there and try to do stop motion effects, let alone.
And then we got that lady that lives over here in the city. She does that Doctor Who puppet.
Oh, yes, that's right. Yes.
Very, very good stuff.
Yeah. So, once again, highly recommend it. Jason and the Argonauts, 1963. Go watch it. Okay, let's get goodbyes from everybody. Let's start with William.
Thank you for having me here, and like I said before, please watch the movie and get the book.
All right, Harry.
Pleasure to be here today. And I gotta agree, get a chance, get this movie. Get it for your collection. You won't regret it.
All right, Texas Tim.
Thanks for having me on another great discussion of an awesome movie.
All right, Philip.
Thank you for having me. This is how films are meant to be made, and they should carry on in this vein. So, yep, thank you again, and people go out and get a movie. It is worth it.
And, of course, Matt Rose.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me on the first. I think this is my first Omega Files film review, and I'll just say go pick this up. It is enjoyable and made with love. That's all I'll say. It's a great film.
Okay, everyone, remember next week we're going to jump forward into the 70s, and we're going to do Sinbad and the Eye of the Tiger. And I think you'll really enjoy that one. Patrick Troughton has a larger role in that one. And, oh, man, plus you get to see Jane Seymour. Yeah.
Wowza.
I remember her as Serena from Battlestar Galactica 78. Hubba hubba. Okay, so until next week, bye, everyone. Have a great weekend.
Take care.
Ta-ta.
Bye.
Take care.